Hey guys, Miss Cologne here. Sorry I'm not there to show you guys how to practice doing more of proportional relationships when it comes to tables and what the meaning of constant or proportionality is. But we've also seen that word before. But I'm also going to show you another word that is going to come in handy because we're going to see this more in Unit 4 as well. So we're still discussing proportional relationships, only the tables, okay? So we need to think of this phrase, unit rate. Unit rate is the same as constant proportionality. Unit rate has its own definition as well, though. Typically, the unit rate does tell us how much of something, so we're talking about money in this case. It usually tells us how much of something is for that one item, right? So it tells us how much of something per one of something else. And typically when we write a unit rate, we write it as a fraction, and typically your denominator is a 1. That's where the unit part comes from. Excuse me. So we're going to do an example, okay? Now, let's say I go to the store and I buy 8 water bottles. All 8 water bottles in total gives me $12.80. But what if I only want to buy one water bottle then? That means we need to find what it means to cost one bottle. So, what is the cost per water bottle? Well, typically I use the word per, and it's more of a mathematical symbol, if you will. So when I look at the word per, this can mean two ways. It can mean I'm multiplying two numbers or I'm dividing. If we're talking about unit rate, I'm talking about what I'm dividing. So the cost, and the cost is typically in dollars, right? Per means I'm going to divide. So I'm going to draw a slash, kind of like a fraction bar, through the word per. So now I need to know how much it is per one water bottle. Notice it says water bottle, not bottles. This is singular. So I need to know for one water bottle how much it costs, not for 8. So we're going to write it as a ratio, a fraction. Your cost is typically in dollars, so we know that it was $12.80. And then the total number of water bottles at first was 8. And then you will need to use a calculator so that you can give me the price, the unit price for one water bottle. So when they only scan one bottle, you should get a cost of $1.60. Now, if you use a calculator and you get 1.6, because we're talking about money, you need to include the 0 because I need 2 decimal places if I'm talking about money. Okay? So, food for thought, right? How can finding the unit rate be useful? Because it comes in handy, all right? Why are we using it? And we use it all the time. So, by finding the unit rate, we determined how much one water bottle costs. All right? This also helps us or allows us to find what is called our unit rate. So, to find the unit rate, if you have a table, that would have been our constant of proportionality, right? That's my pattern, my magic number. Okay? So it determines how much one water bottle costs. It allows us to use that unit rate to find the other values if we have a table and it's missing. Okay? So we're going to now look at a table and try to use the same terms, okay, to fill out our table. So Here's my water bottle. I know that one water bottle costs $1.60. We just found that. So my magic number is $1.60, meaning for every bottle of water, you're going to typically you add, but in this case, we're going to multiply by 160. So for instance, what if I got 2 water bottles now? Now I want to know what the cost of 2 water bottles are. Well, if my unit rate is $1.60, typically you're going to multiply your number of water bottles by the cost. So 2 times $1.60, use a calculator, it should give you $3.20. But what if I want to buy 4 water bottles now, right? 4 water bottles, all right. Still take that $1.60 because that only cost me for 1 bottle, but I'm going to buy 4. So now you're going to do 4 times $1.60. You get $6.40. Now, we already knew at 8 water bottles because that was in the previous problem, right? This was how our scenario started. 8 times $1.60, we still get the $12.80. That also lets us know this number is correct, okay? And then lastly, 16 times $1.60. If I want to buy 16 water bottles, it will be $25.60. And again, if you use a calculator, you have to input these zeros. Okay. Let's try another scenario then. I got a car and he's driving miles per hour. We know miles per hour because if we're in a car, okay, we're driving on the highway. You know, I drive, your parents must drive. So they go the speed limit. Speed limit is always written in miles per hour. So we usually see it like this on those signs. But what it means is miles per, means I'm dividing however many hours it takes to whatever distance you're trying to go. So, for instance, if I'm driving for an hour and I only drove 60 miles in that 1 hour, in order to find that unit rate, you need to take your Y value, whatever the column is on this table, and you need to divide, which sounds oddly familiar. That sounds like when we did scale factor, right? Our new divided by old, same thing. I'm taking my Y value this time and divide. 60 divided by 1 gives us 60. And how do I know that? Well, if I did 1 times 60, that's how you got 60 in the first place. So your unit rate is 60 miles per hour. Now that I have that unit rate, that is my constant of proportionality as well, that's my magic number. I'm going to use that and fill in the rest of the table. Meaning, for each value of x, you need to multiply by 60. Okay, so 7 times 60 should give you 420. 13 times 60 should give you 780 miles. These are in miles, okay? So do not put the dollar sign. And then 14 times 60, 840 miles. I'm going to give you a second before I flip it over. Okay. If you're still confused, you need to go back. Go back. Okay. Now, there are 5 questions here for independent practice. Okay. Independent practice. I will not do all 5 in this video, so I will check on Monday. How do we do on this? Okay. I would like for you to answer number 1. Okay. Number 3. And number 5. Okay. Answer number 1, 3, and 5. I will show you number 2 and 4. So number 2, just as a reminder, right? In case we get stuck doing 1, 3, and 5 by yourself, I'm going to show you how to do 2 and 4 so you know how to do the rest. If I have the number of hours now, so my left column is hours, my right column is the number of steps. Now, if you were given a y value, but your x value is not 1, so in this case it's a 4, that means you do not have the unit rate. So if you need to use a highlighter, please do so, because I want to show you that this column that I boxed in, this is your unit rate, because this value has to be a 1 according to the beginning of the notes. Okay, but we don't have that value, right? I don't know what my unit rate is. That's what it's asking for down here. So you need to use what you're given in the table to solve that. So now, 1,720, I'm going to have to take that total number of steps and divide by 4. Because I want to know my steps per 1 hour, not 4 hours. So on your calculator, you're going to have to do 1,720 divided by 4. So for 1 hour, that person just took 430 steps. So my unit rate, because my x value is a 1, my unit rate is 420 steps per hour. So I'm going to say steps per hour. I don't want to just see the numbers. I would like for you guys to please write in your words as well. Okay. So now that I have that number, I can now fill in my table. That means if I want to go from 8 hours, you need to take that number and multiply by 430. Sorry. This should say 3,440. Apologies. 3,440. And then I got to do the same thing with my 12. So now I got to do 12 times 430. Gives you 5,160. So again, for 12 hours of walking, they said 5,160. All right, number 4. Whether your table is drawn vertically or horizontally, it does not matter. If they labeled it for you, your x values and your y, that means I need my unit rate. And again, your unit rate can only work if your x value is 1. Being that my x value is 1 right here, and I have a value for y, that means it's 2. So my unit rate is already 2 feet per second. Be careful with the words you got. So the unit rate is 2 feet per second. Per means I'm dividing. Now that I have that magic number, I need to multiply everything by 2. So I got to do 7 times 2, 8 times 2, 15 times 2. You are going to work 1, 3, and 5 on your own. Make sure you look at 2 and 4. Use a calculator to check back at your work. You can use Desmos calculator. If you prefer the yellow calculator, that is fine. Make sure you put it back. Okay. Do not lose this paper. because Monday you're going to answer number 1 as your bell ringer. Okay? Do not lose this paper. Also, because I'm going to come back and check your work here. If you have any questions, go back to this video. When you're done finishing these notes, please place these in your folder if you have one, or in your book bag. And then you may go on Zearn and complete lessons 2 and 3. You all already automatically onto lesson 2. You will start with lesson 2. When you're done with lesson 2, it will automatically send you to lesson 3. You will complete lesson 3. These are due Monday. So if we come back to this on Monday, I will give you guys time to finish your Zearn, because that is for 8th grade. Y'all have a good weekend. See you Monday.